Hello, wayward souls. I hope you're doing well. In this episode, I want to talk about the 6 ways that we can channel spirit. Spirit is within us. Spirit is in everything. It is the life force that is life itself. It is the unified field of consciousness, or the universe at large. However you want to call it, that is what spirit is. And because we're conscious beings, we can stay in contact with it, and we can get knowledge. We can meet our ancestors, we can meet our passed on loved ones, and get everyday guidance through our own lives, and get to know a better and deeper understanding of ourselves by understanding that we're all connected by this source consciousness, by spirit, by this unified field. That when we all die, we become one. We become a whole, like a complete being. When we come into this life, we experience the concept of separation and uniqueness and difference. As we get a greater understanding of who we are as individuals, this in turn helps the universe at large learn to expand. So as each one of our conscious minds expand, so does the universe. And that is why we're here, to live life and to learn things about ourselves and about life. And understanding that love is the highest vibration. It is the core truth of who we are, because love is direct energy of spirit. And with that being said, here is the first way that we can channel spirit. The first way that we can channel spirit is through our dreams. What are your dreams trying to tell you? What are the symbols in your dreams? What are the emotions that you're feeling? Are there any animals or plants or, certain events going on? All of these things are messages from spirit and from your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind really is a direct gateway to the spirit world. And that is why you can get a lot of truth, and there's a lot of hidden deep truth in our subconscious mind. There's plenty of times where I've had dreams where things may not have happened to the exact degree of how my dream played out, but there's been many situations where I have dreamt things that have essentially come true, or even or I'll dream about something, for example, a conflict with some people that I had to let go of in my life because they were kind of toxic. Just dreaming of them and having all these emotions and these heavy emotions in my dream, that had a lesson for me when I thought about it, about how it's better to let these people go, because this is what they bring to you, is this toxic, heavy energy. And our dreams can tell us so many things that we're going through and what we need to know about ourselves that we may not be aware of. The second way that we can channel spirit is through tarot and oracle cards. I love tarot cards because I'm very much a visional thinker. I think through pictures and images, and I find that when I see tarot cards, when I do a spread, it really does have a vibe for me. Each image has its own energetic meaning, and when they're in relation to each other, like the more you get to know tarot cards, the more you become in tune with that and what these messages mean. And for different readings, they might mean something else or other things. All the messages for each card will vary depending on what your intuition is picking up from the card, and what the relationship is from one card to another. And if you're new with tarot and oracle cards, even putting your energy into the deck and pulling out a card and just reading off the book and that message, there is always going to be truth in that, because you picked up that card, so it has your energetic vibration. It's going to give you an answer, or it's going to give you what your soul needs, because that's the one that you picked. And because we're all connected and everything is consciousness and spirit, no matter what, if there's meaning behind it or not, because you picked that card, it's meant for you. And it definitely helps to ground yourself. With all these practices, it's important to ground yourself so you can get accurate messages. Now, the third way that we can channel spirit is through plant medicines. Plant medicine is, when you take it, you're essentially peeking through the curtain of reality and you're seeing things as they are. Now, this can definitely be heavily, when you're, tripping on psychedelics, this can definitely be heavily influenced on how you're feeling and what you're going through. And I will have a video that has more in-depth details about plant medicines and having trips. But essentially what you're feeling inside definitely will be influenced through your trip. And sometimes we have bad trips because we have all this stuff and emotional stuff inside of us that we're not aware of yet. So sometimes it's important to recognize that things like mushrooms and pot, and even acid, even though it's not a plant medicine, it's very much a spiritual drug. It's important to have a good intent with these things and treat them with respect, not just something to use and escape from, because these things can really affect what you're feeling on a subconscious level. So whenever I'm not in a good place in my life, I make sure I do this stuff so I can be with myself and feel what I need to feel. And I'll have these trips where I just cry my eyes out and I release a bunch of stuff. And then, of course, I have those trips where I'm at a concert and I'm having a really great time. It's about having a relationship with the plant medicine and knowing when it's benefiting your life and when it's not. But essentially, when you are on these things, notice how connected you feel and how much your senses are heightened when it comes to feeling like there's something there that you can communicate with, whether it's a part of you or just the life itself, or maybe you believe in spirit guides, that's your thing. You might notice you have way more face-to-face contact with spirit around us, because again, like taking these psychedelics, as our brain chemistry is altered, it's lifting the veil and we can see more than we can see on a normal basis. So it's definitely good for having a jump start into channeling spirit and connecting with spirit. But it can be very intense sometimes, and it's definitely, it should be mainly used for beneficial things like healing and things like that. The fourth way that we can channel spirit is through forest bathing. When we are in nature and we're in the forest, we are connecting to the true world, to the true blank canvas that we have built our painting of a reality on. When we're in nature, it helps us revert back to our true state of being, our more natural, peaceful state of being. And doing things like literally hugging trees or walking around barefoot, it helps you become one with the earth energy, the earth prana, and it helps really ground yourself and rehabilitate your sense of safety and peace. And that's why it's so important to be out in nature. Everything in nature has a purpose and has a connectedness to it. All the plants, the animals, the bugs, they're all interconnected in some way. And it may not always be pretty, but that's what life is. It is light and dark. It is intertwined. And nature can teach us these things. And it can really teach us how to be still and be with ourselves and be at peace. Because that is what our souls truly need. The way we live our lives these days, so busy and so just all over the place, constantly chasing after money and hustle culture and celebrity gossip and all this fake stuff. Like, this is all stuff that we've just made up. That's not what true life is. And so knowing that nature can teach us that life isn't what we all think it is. It's so much more beautiful and more peaceful. And life can be peaceful. Life can be happy. It teaches us that we can start again, that we can let things go and change our direction and take a new direction in life. One way that you can connect to spirit walking through the forest is to set an intention. And this works too with going into like a mushroom trip, or any trip, but going into a forest as well, asking for a message from spirit. Like, is there a message that needs to be shown to you? Or what do you need to know today? Like, what is something that you need to be aware of? And then it's just about letting your senses do the rest. So you might be walking through the forest and you might see a certain animal that really like speaks to you in some way. That is definitely a message from spirit. Trying to show you something or give you a message or whatever that might be. It's going to be a very personal experience to you. And yeah, with plant medicine, I'll say that as well. With plant medicine, you could ask for a message to come through or some sort of intent, and you can absolutely receive it. You just have to not fear the emotions that you're going to experience and let it flow through you. There's been plenty of times where I've smoked pot in nature and I've had these amazing epiphanies, and some of them involved a lot of heavy crying and releasing and just really beautiful stuff. The fifth way to channel spirit is through writing. This is one of my favorite ways to channel spirit, because I find that once I start writing, the messages keep coming. And this took a lot of years to develop. I started doing this when I was 18. And again, I would go into nature and I would smoke a bit of weed and I would start journaling out my problems. But as I noticed that the more I did this, the more I started journaling out what was bothering me or what I was going through, I would start to find answers while I was writing it. They would just come out of nowhere, like answers to my problems or what my soul truly needs. It would start to come through into my writing, and I would have no idea where it was coming from. And I learned a few years later through taking a channeling or a connecting with spirit course, channeling spirit, in my early 20s, that's what I was doing, was channeling spirit. And one way that you can do it is through writing. And if freestyle writing is hard for you to do, or to receive messages, because it could be really hard deciphering whether or not it's your own mind thinking, making things up, or if it's actually speaking through you, it can be very hard to tell the difference at first. And so I recommend doing brain dumping on your notebook. So a brain dump is when you just write whatever comes to mind. Doesn't matter if it's silly and random or super depressed. It could be whatever you want it to be. Just write whatever comes to your mind. And that is one way to help loosen up your mind to receiving information. And also you'll start to realize that when you are getting messages from spirit, there's a sort of peaceful, calm, almost whispery vibe to it when you receive the information like this. It's going to feel whatever message you get from spirit around you, it's going to have some sort of peaceful, loving vibe to it. And you'll feel it in your lower abdomen as well, very subtly. And then the sixth way that we can channel spirit is through meditation. So as grounding ourselves, we're able to calm ourselves down and to be able to hear spirit and what spirit has to tell us. When we meditate and we clear our mind, we are opening our mind up to receive messages from spirit. If you do a silent meditation and you clear your mind, you might hear little whispers in your ear that will give you information, or you might see images in your mind, like pictures on a screen, with information. It could be picture metaphors of messages. However it comes to you, meditation is one really powerful way to be able to be in contact with spirit. There's been many visual contact journeys that I've been on where I've spoken to different spirit guides, and I've been in random places that are in nature, or I've been meditating in my room and all of a sudden my grandmother is standing behind me and talking to me. And this is an incredible way to contact spirit. And even if you can't, you're having trouble contacting spirit while you're meditating, just the practice of everyday meditation or whenever you can, it helps keep you grounded and keep you in that open, calm place where you can receive daily messages from spirit. So besides all these 6 things that I've mentioned that we can channel spirit with, there's also just paying attention to your everyday life, paying attention to how certain situations make you feel and why they make you feel that way. Whatever situation or relationship you are in, question this. Are you feeling out of whack, or are you feeling uncomfortable because this is bringing something up that might be traumatic, or are you genuinely unsafe in this situation? There's lots of things that we can ask ourselves. Why do I have social anxiety in this situation? Is it me, or am I feeling other people's energies? Or, maybe this situation's not so good for me, or maybe this is a learning curve where I need to learn how to be comfortable in my skin around other people. There's just so many situations in life that we go through where we can ask these kinds of questions and get a deeper understanding of who we are. And through that, we find a deeper connection to life. And then I also had something else I wanted to say about that. Oh, yes. So synchronicities, everyday synchronicities are very important. So how many times are you seeing the number 7 in a day or a week? Or are you thinking about something and then you see like an ad about it, or you hear something on the radio, or you're thinking about something and you hear some people talking about what you're thinking about. It could be any little subtle coincidences or deja vus. That's how you know spirit's trying to communicate with you, especially if it feels very serendipitous. Sorry, I didn't say that right. And just really like coincidental to a degree where you really feel something. That is how you know that spirit's actually reaching out. The universe is trying to send you signals and messages, and all you have to do is just be open and aware, and just be open to receive information and understand that we're connected to the universe. We're a part of it, so of course it's going to communicate with us. It's all one. We're all one unified field of consciousness at the end of the day. And it's beautiful when you can understand and find this connection. All right, everyone, that's all I have to say today, but I just want you to know I love you guys so much, and I wish you all the best in your journeys in life, and sending many blessings your way. Take care. Bye.